Tide of so.
I thought you were gonna say, "I'm gonna build you an ark."
And get you some giraffes. I'm gonna get you some pigs and maybe some horses too. I know you love those horses too.
That was me lighting the pretend lighter I had in my
Oh,
hand.
nice. I love it. Okay, yeah, we got it. Put your lighters in the air. What was up with that Bruno Mars song? It was like Sky Full of Lighters.
Yeah, so he pretty much, and I'm not quoting it because I know him personally. I mean, he did text me once or twice in my lifetime.
No biggie.
But he said he needed the lighters in the sky because it's like a play on words. He was a little, what the kids say, a little toasty, and he just, was imagining things.
No, Bruno Mars never.
You know what? I actually, not that this matters or anything, but I saw him perform. I think it was like maybe, did he perform for the Super Bowl?
I think so, yeah.
He was standing next to whoever it was, but I just remember golly, this guy is way shorter than I thought he was.
Yeah.
I didn't know because you could never tell unless you see someone live. But yeah.
Yeah. You know who had that impact on me? It was a Bradley Martin video, and it was Jen Selter. I didn't realize how small she was.
Well, anyone, I guess, next to a guy that's 6'4", 200.
I know, but
pounds.
it's so funny how much social media distorts our view of people.
Oh, for sure.
You're just you see this person and Jen's thing was she kind of perfected the butt shot and everything. I mean, good for her. She made a butt ton of money off of it. No pun intended, or pun intended. But the way she would take her shots, it made her legs look really long. So I always thought in my head wow, she must be really tall. She must be really tall. And then when I saw the video, I was like, whoa, she's really short. I didn't she's 4'11", 5 feet tall. So it never clicked in my head until I saw her next to another celebrity, and obviously Bradley Martin's 6'4", 6'5", or whatever. But it was just so funny when you have those sobering moments. Another one I had that was I think it was a Patriots playoff game. I saw Randy Moss. It was when Randy Moss was on the team, and he was either putting on his shoulder pads or taking off his shoulder pads. And I just had this moment where I was like, whoa, he puts on his shoulder pads the same way I put on my shoulder pads. And it was kind of one of those, I know it's stupid, obviously, dummy, you got to put it over your head. But it was just one of those moments where I'm oh man, he also has to put on his shoes the same way I have to put on my shoes, and all this stuff. And obviously Randy Moss, arguably one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. Maybe more special when he was with the Vikings than when he was with the Patriots.
I would say so, but he never won a Super Bowl with the Vikings, so I couldn't really tell you how good he did because he did well, but wasn't enough for the win of Super Bowl.
No, I love Randy Moss when he was on the Vikings. I didn't really even know what he did. I don't remember what he did on the Raiders, and obviously I loved him on the Patriots. But
was he even on the team on the Raiders for even a year?
I don't know if he was. Kind of like Tim Tebow. He was just he just did what was it the summer with the Patriots, and then he was cut.
Yeah, it's Randy Moss. You could probably skip the Jets and the Raiders career out of his. Wait, was he on? He was on the Jets, right?
Randy Moss, I don't know if he was. I know Raiders. I don't know about the Jets.
I don't know.
I know Tim Tebow was on the Jets.
Someone needs to fact check us sometime. So
let us know in the comment section below, folks. What are we talking about today, buddy?
We're talking about cardio. When I think of cardio, cardio, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Oh my god. And who's talking to us about cardio today? Who are you, buddy?
Antoine.
And Roman.
Gainz
podcast.
I thought this was a trick question for a second. I'm wait, sorry, my head is foggy as heck right now, so I was what is he trying to I thought you were trying to make me one of your case studies.
So it's gonna be
192, 6'2".
Okay, how long do you do cardio for? Today we're talking to you about cardio, folks. What do we need to know about cardio, Antoine?
Well, first off, do we know if cardio is needed for everyone? Does cardio associate with people only losing weight? Does cardio associate it for people for gaining weight?
Yeah.
What is cardio? What are the benefits of cardio?
Yep.
So it's kind of like all of the above. I mean, those are probably what the main questions are going to be answered.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions that I didn't mean to answer your question with multiple questions, but I wanted to get a good general consensus of what we're going to be talking about before we get into it.
That's pretty much what I was thinking too. Talk about, as we always do, like talk about the populations that would benefit from cardio the most. And then, possibly talk about the populations that like probably shouldn't do cardio. Actually, I think most people probably should. I feel pretty comfortable saying that. Most people.
What types of cardio that we like to do? Because that's important.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, I know we're the hosts of the Gainz podcast,
Yeah.
and people don't come to listen to us. They come to listen to people about other things,
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, just seeing what other people are doing, it might help you, especially if you hear, like, a cool way of doing it. Like, oh, you usually do your cardio by, like, doing hills as opposed to just, like, going for, like, a boring-ass walk. Like, I don't think walks are boring. I actually love walks, but some...
You sound like someone I know.
Yes, yeah.
And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Last name with the S.
Yeah.
We just call it BS for short.
Cardio is like the stairs from
hopefully he doesn't listen to
seventh
this podcast. Yeah, hopefully.
He knows.
6 to 1 is a lot of cardio.
Oh my god, that's a week's worth of cardio for him. Yeah.
What the heck? What else was I gonna say? I don't know. Let's go on what you were saying, because I was gonna say something. So I lost my train of thought.
Let's just jump right in. So I think one of like the key things that I still continue to hear and like see people like doing or saying for their use of cardio. Oh, okay, so we should talk about what is cardio. Cardio is just aerobic endurance training or some sort of like aerobic endurance
and it could
event
be anything.
or activity. Yeah, exactly. Anything that like causes you to get up out of your chair and move.
Get off your chair. You freaking lazy
chair.
Roman doesn't even stand for these podcasts, and I usually stand the whole time. I swear, Roman is lazy.
I'm conserving my energy right now. I'm gonna go play probably an hour of b-ball after this.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if. Side note, did you guys check out the last post on Instagram? Well, it would be, I guess, your Tuesday if you're seeing this on Friday, but. Man, can you even fit like a penny in Roman's pecs or what? Like, dude, you better watch out, buddy. That you almost like popped a blood vessel from squeezing so hard.
I'm working on that Herculean chest. Oh my god, yeah. No, we've been posting more on the Gainz podcast, folks. So if you like what we've been posting, people have been leaving comments for us. We've been having really great conversations with people. So if you like what you see, just keep liking, keep commenting. If you want to see other things, let us know. You can DM us. You can just comment on a video like, hey, that's really cool. I saw that you mentioned you were going to do a video on scapular mobility. Like, when are you thinking of doing that? If there's something that you'd like to see sooner rather than later, let us know, and we'll prioritize that. We'll move that up in the schedule. So cool.
Yeah, and I think we've been posting a little bit more on. Speaking of going back to cardio, we've been trying to post a little bit more, like on our fun types of cardio, I should say.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, like, I don't know. I don't think of cardio of something that like is like built in. I mean, I don't know. You could go either way, I guess. But like, I don't know. I always do, and what I preached this before, and you preach this too. I always try to do things that I like. Instead of do things I don't like. Yeah. But we'll talk about it later. When I did competing, I did do some cardio I didn't like, but I could share that later, and I've probably shared it before. But you're talking about events, activities.
Yeah.
What types are?
I'm like, I hesitate to put like a time domain because it's gonna be different per person. But
Yeah.
I'd say it's an intentional focus or intentional
Movement.
activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, movement activity, or just movement in general that is dedicated towards increasing your aerobic endurance. Um, so it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to do like sprints or anything like that, but just going for a walk, like I would consider that cardio. And I think like when you take that broad stance, you kind of
You yeah.
remove you remove some of the stigma in the fitness industry, because like the fitness industry is like you do stairs for an hour, you do like incline walking for
Yeah.
like 2 hours.
You have to go to the gym and you have to use that elliptical every day for an
Yeah,
hour, no
yeah,
matter how much you hate it. It's like,
yeah,
no, that's not how you should look at cardio. That's why I said I don't really look at it like as even a term. It's just part of my
yeah,
daily activity, if
yeah,
that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, just part of like a movement regimen,
Yeah.
and that might be more healthy for people and for like individuals too. Like if you've internalized cardio as like, dude, cardio for me is like getting on the treadmill and just running as hard as I can for as long as I can, then you might benefit from just going for a walk in the woods or like around your neighborhood, or going for a bike ride and saying like, hey, I've always wanted to go to this place like
Yeah.
x like distance away. I'm just gonna do it via a bike, via like a longboard, a skateboard, via like one of like the one wheelers, like whatever it might be, because you get a little bit of a balance component. Although at that point, I might not call it cardio. I might just say like it's like a balancing drill. So that one's a tricky one, folks.
Your
Um,
sometimes Roman's cardio when he's THICCCCC is getting out of bed. So
yes, that is true. So, man, electric. Side note: electric bikes have gotten so insane. My
oh,
brother,
they got so popular. We see them
yeah,
all the time.
it's insane, like so popular.
Like, are you talking
So
about the one where it's like you could switch it on whenever you want, but it's still like a
exactly,
regular
yeah,
bike?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It looks exactly like a bike, except for like
It has
the
like a fat power brick.
yes, exactly. That's
Mhm.
exactly it. So my brother and I were having a casual bike ride to the beach this weekend, and I see this guy coming up on us like pretty quickly. I'm like, whoa, he's biking pretty fast. Like we're not like professional bikers by any chance,
Yeah.
but we're always like competing with each other and like pushing each other. So I'll like pass him like as long as it's safe on like a public access road, and then he'll pass me, and then we'll just do stuff like that. So we might be going like anywhere between like I'd say like 15, 18 miles an hour on average. Like we don't push it, but like sometimes we push it. Like we definitely I always say like our last mile is probably like a 3 minute or less mile. So we have to be going at least like 20 miles an hour on the bike, which isn't super fast again, but like I've got a shitty mountain bike here, and he's got like an old hybrid bike. So it's not like we're working on like road bikes, where like they're designed for speed. This is like a heavy ass mountain bike, and the hybrid is like it's slipping on every time he like tries to like change the gear up or down or whatnot. Anyway, so I keep checking behind me. Like I see this guy on this green bike creeping up on us.
Yeah.
The guy is not even pedaling. He's just like got his hand on the accelerator and just zooms by us. Like the guy wasn't thinking about it, and I was like, off of principle, we should beat this guy. And he just like demolished us, man. Like literally
Yeah.
no effort whatsoever. The guy was just like, oh, this
See,
is so sad.
See, so eventually I would like to do or have that as an investment like later on in life,
Yeah, yeah,
because see, the
same.
thing is, honestly, like if you can like somehow get like 10, 15 miles unassisted, but you're like looking for like that trail with 30 miles, and then you turn on like half power but pedal as well. Like, can you imagine like the scenery you can see on a bike
Yeah,
compared to like
I know.
just being on a regular bike?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's a really good idea, actually. I'm just kind of messing around for our listeners. It was just really funny because it's like one of those ego moments where you're just like, oh my God, this guy is like crushing us, and he's like not even trying. But like
He's not cardioed once.
he's going after a different experience. Yeah, exactly. He's just looking to
Yeah,
get somewhere.
yeah, sightsee.
Or
Or like
sightsee.
me,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that too. I
No.
mean, maybe get just the sun exposure,
Yeah.
you know, nice day. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's the East Coast, man. It's gonna be snowing soon.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. In like a week.
in like a week, everyone get ready, get your heavy coats on.
So okay, we talked about like
What
what
types
cardio
are
yeah, what cardio is, some like different examples of types. I think a good like segue would be cardio for weight loss. So I don't think there's anything wrong with cardio for weight loss. That's like I'm on like a small like weight loss like phase right now. Not sure how long it'll last. I'm kind of just experimenting with some different things, but I like don't have a show or anything that I'm prepping for. So I'm just doing it for funsies, doing it for myself, um, and you know trying to do so in a way that's like I don't deem as like harmful to myself, but as like productive, and I'm learning from the process and et cetera, et cetera.
He's been on a
But
small phase, but it's been like 2 months now.
it's going on 2 months, yeah. It's insane. Like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, wow, like I kind of forgot like what this is
Uh,
like because I've
yeah.
done this before and I've done it like very unhealthy. But like I'm trying to do it like more healthy where I don't like, you know, restrict like crazy, or I don't go for like, you know, 10, 15 mile runs and then bike rides after that. And, you know, I try to like take things in stride and like
Why
keep my
don't you
recovery in mind.
why don't you segue to that? I mean,
Yeah.
you said cardio. You want to talk about cardio for weight loss? That's a very good segue in how not to like push yourself is to
Yeah.
do those 15-mile runs every day and
Yeah.
thinking that's going to be healthy overall, or is it manageable? It
Yeah.
would for something for weight loss. In that mindset, obviously you'd probably say yes 100 times, but in reality, Roman, today, if I would tell you, and if I was your coach and I said, "Hey Roman, run 10 miles every other day," would you say yes? Would you say it's manageable, or no, like, "Hey Antoine, like that doesn't seem manageable. Is there any way maybe I could cut out some calories instead
Yeah.
and run maybe 5 every other day, or like 4, like something littler, like smaller?"
Yeah. So me personally, if you told me to do that, I would probably do it. I'd be like, all right, this guy's challenging me. I'm gonna do it. But
So you bust
um,
some
like coaching myself and like knowing myself, no, I don't think that would be healthy. I think it would be like a bad mindset. So I constantly have to like, you know, check myself and say like, is this like what I'm doing? Am I doing it because like I want to do it? Am I doing it because I'm going to enjoy it? Am I doing it for like, is it going to cause me like any type of like possible harm? You know, those kind of questions. Um, which I don't think you always have to ask. But
Yeah.
if you find that you're like chronically like under recovered, for example, like you've spent like a month or months where like you just can't recover a particular like injury, and it's like a small injury but it's naggy, it seems to get like worse, and you're dieting, for example, you're trying to lose weight, and you just end up seeming to do more and more, and like emotionally and like psychologically you just feel like you're getting more and more overwhelmed. That might be a good spot to like take a break, check in with yourself and say like, am I actually like proceeding towards my goal, or are my actions possibly like inhibiting my goal? Because that's very much like a possibility.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to now, since we've seen like the other end of things. So Roman mentioned like a great like verbiage and all that good stuff for setting up like cardio for weight loss. And something I would suggest is to start small with these goals when you come to
Yeah,
like the first like
agreed.
couple weeks of like weight loss. Just like say if you set a goal for like, you know, say if you walk only 5,000 steps and walking is your main type of cardio, maybe try like 6,500, 7,000 steps
Yeah,
for the first couple weeks, see how you feel. You know, and maybe you lose like a pound in a month, and maybe a pound in a month is good, or a pound every other week. Like if that's moving the bar, then start small. In my experience for bodybuilding, like whatever I can get away with the least, I would do. Like
yeah,
if it was like in when I mentioned earlier, so stair stepper was a good cardio session for me. Like it would help me. It made me like burn a lot of fat. Like it got my butt in shape, and it was like overall, and it didn't hurt my recovery at all. But see, the thing is, I did it so much where I got burnt out, but I kept doing it, and I kept sticking with it. So like, I would say just start from the beginning, start small, start with a manageable load before you increase. Because like Roman said, like, we mentioned like if you start here and you're doing this and you can't even go above that and you're not recovering, then you can always kind of, deload / like reverse overload, but either way, you could go kind of trend backwards to try to recover first and then start small again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, one of my buddies, he showed me like, so
Joe?
He's been like on like
shout out
weight
to
loss.
Joe.
Yeah, what up, Joe? How you doing, buddy?
Our only fan.
Right. So he's been on like a little weight loss journey, and like I'm really proud of him. And like he'll check in with me every once in a while, and he'll say like, "Hey, like I ran like this amount of miles this week," and I'm like, "Dude, that's freaking amazing! Good job, keep it up." And he's like, "Yeah, but like I feel like I'm kind of losing motivation." So I'm like, "Hey, well, tell me more. Like, what's going on?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just feel like sometimes like my mileage like oscillates like week to week." And I'm trying to tell him like, "Dude, that's perfectly fine. Like that's actually like exactly how you should set it up. Like there's nothing wrong with that." That's like actually a good thing, because like what I saw him doing was like week 1 he like started here, week 2 he did like a little more, week 3 he did a little more, week 4 he did a little more, then week 5 he like went down a little bit, and then week 6 he did like somewhere around like where he did around like week 2, week 3, and then went down a little bit, and then week 7 he did a little bit more, somewhere around like weeks 3 and 4. So like he had these natural like oscillation patterns, but because it didn't.
That's training.
That is training. That is like he took natural deloads, but because it didn't look like this, he thought he was failing. And I was like, dude, you're not failing. You're doing like exactly what you need to. Like this is awesome. And like for him, like the one advice, like if you're listening, like thanks for tuning in, buddy. I would just say like cardio is great. Cardio definitely helps with like fat loss, weight loss, but don't let that be the only thing. We really have to look at our diet too. We have to take like an honest, like hard look at our diet. And it might just be like removing just like one snack a day. So,
and that's what I mentioned earlier about you. Like if I was like your coach and I told you run 15 miles, you say no, that's not really reasonable for every other day. Then like, like as a coach, you'd be like, well, if they're not a big runner, they don't need to run. Like maybe cut out like 250 calories or 100 calories and start there. So yeah.
True. Yeah. So that's the important thing, that cardio can only do so much. And like I used to do cardio, like hit cardio like crazy, like around like 50 to 75 miles a week I would run, and then I'd also bike, and I'd probably play like 7 hours of like intense basketball, and I would also like jump around my basement with an electric guitar, like a lot of stuff. And I played sports, and I did this and I did that, and I'd lift, but even when I would do something like that, like on an average day, I might lose like 600 or 700 calories, like doing cardio. That's a fuck ton. That is so much. That is probably like much more than is like ever needed. But if we look at like the whole picture, my maintenance diet hovers around like 2,700 calories, like probably 2,600 up to like 2,800, 2,850, somewhere around there. We'll just say 2,700 for like an even number. So if I wanted to lose at about like 1% like body rate, I'd probably like cut calories anywhere between like 300 to 400 ish. I'd have to like do the quick math, but that like intuitively sounds about right. So I'd probably be looking at doing like 22, 23, 2,400 calories like for like a high day on some sort of like a diet where I wanted to lose, I don't know, let's say like 5% in the course of like 3 to 5 months.
Yeah, and then to something to add to that too, when you said like 600 or 700 like calories for cardio, I do want to mention on the other spectrum on why like cardio is important and why we're doing this like episode for cardio. Yes, we're both lifters. Like most of the population that watch this are people that lift, but if you're only lifting and you're not doing like anything else to like move to get your heart going, to get that other cardiovascular like benefits, like, you're only burning so many calories in like a lift. And that goes probably to the point that we probably mentioned on another podcast, but like, you're not lifting for 4 hours. You're not an unnatural lifter most of the time that's listening to this. So you're physically not going to burn 600 or 700 calories with like lifting. I mean, if you are, you might want to look into your training program, because like that's like typically too much to even weight lift and lose that much amount of calories.
Yeah, because especially like, so I've heard examples, like case studies of people that like in that same scenario, what would end up happening is when I would do that, like I would be stripped. So like I think the human body, like my body probably stores maybe like, let's say 2,000, give or take, like a few hundred calories in like glycogen for like carbohydrates essentially. So in that instance, like if I did run, let's say like a 10 miles in a day, and then like I've also on that same day, I've gone for like a 40-mile bike ride, and I've also gone swimming. Like that is something that like I used to do.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then like I would eat, of course, but if I didn't have like high carbohydrate meals, like high carbohydrate, like 1,000 grams worth of like carbs, then like I could be pretty carbohydrate depleted. And like when that happens habitually, carbohydrates do aid in recovery to a certain point, certain extent, and that you just get into like a further and further recovery deficit. And I remember reading a passage from Nancy Clark in her sports nutrition book, and she was talking about this, like the case study I was referencing, an individual who was like, I think they're like a Spartan race like type person,
like competitor.
So, competitor. They were like complaining about this like particular like knee injury, like, oh, like my knee. So she did like some sort of test. I don't know how accurate it is, but essentially is a quick assessment of what your glycogen stores are, and it just showed like the dude was like depleted, like very, very, very low. And like it makes sense too. Like you can just like know, I'd say like just like a quick short test would be to see like how hard you're able to like hold a contraction of the muscle. Like if you're to do a leg extension, are you able to really like feel the muscle, or does it feel like you can't connect and it just feels like every time you do like a leg extension rep, like it feels like you're just, blasting your kneecap out of your knee. Like if it feels like that, then you might not have any like juice inside of your muscles to cause that contraction. You do have quite a bit more, but like the muscles prefer and are able to like get larger, like physically larger, when that's called that sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, when their like glycogen stores are topped off, because it can use that as like a continual fuel source. And that's like what we use for like those glycolytic interactions, those fast interactions for energy turnover. So I would find myself like totally like worn out. Anyways, that guy, he ended up like after that test, Nancy Clark was like, hey, you should probably like consume some more carbs. Have you thought about like maybe adding a bagel for breakfast, maybe like a bowl of cereal later on in the day, a couple pieces of fruit, that kind of thing. Just like small things to try and like introduce him back into carbs, because I think he was like on a very anti-carb diet. And he ended up like blowing out his knee, like tearing his ACL, like MCL, PCL, like something like disastrous, like a week later. And he's like, oh, well, I probably should have like followed your advice. He also should have like cut down on the training volume, most likely. But yeah, carbs are good, I guess, is what I'm trying to say for some people. So cardio for weight loss, because I don't want this to be about like a calorie counting game, because it's like not necessary for most people, I'd say. Cardio for weight loss can be very effective, but like a more important thing, I'd say, it would be to like take a look at your diet and to see where you could like clean it up. If you find you have like a couple sodas a day, like why not shrink it down to just like one soda? If it's a situation where you're like, I don't know where I can cut, like, I don't know, look at like snacks versus meals. Like how many meals do you have a day? Well, I only have like 3 meals a day, but I find myself like having to snack because I get so hungry in between meals. Why don't you like wipe out your snacks, but include another meal? So just like plan ahead. Proper preparation for like meal planning can make a huge difference. If you've got like a nice full meal, the average person, adult person, I believe, starts to get like hunger signals 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 hours after they eat, which is pretty on par for me. I'm not sure what it looks like for you, buddy. And obviously last week we talked about intermittent fasting, so that might be a practical tool for somebody else. But yeah, in that instance, you might just benefit by having like a larger meal or a larger snack, but cutting out like the rest of your snacks, and that way you're able to like better handle those hunger signals throughout the day.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something good to note. As well as like before we end it too, I definitely want to kind of go over like, you know, we did talk a lot about weight loss and like, you know, some strategies around weight loss or some not so much strategies from weight loss when it comes to cardio, obviously with like Roman's experiences and whatnot. But like, you know, even when, you know, weight loss is not there, either maintenance or weight gaining stages, like I still typically insist, you know, I will definitely be the one that always says like cardio matters no matter what. Yeah. And to Roman's opposite phase right now, my goal is to hit 200 pounds by the end of the year. I started at 190, 192, and today I'm 193, but like I'm still going on walks. I'm still burning calories. On my off days of lifting, like Roman was mentioning with like the bike rides and stuff, and we're posting on our Instagram, like we'll go ahead and find something different and like something that we don't really do so much, and then do that, which is most of the time would be bike rides, or like, you know, if we wanted to do a run, if we want to do a walk the dog, you know, stuff that is out of the ordinary where it's just going to help us move. So, you know, on my weight gain, so like weight gain, it helps me stay nice and focused, as well as like it allows me to eat more food too. So I can't really complain about that. Even with weight gain, I'm already eating a lot of food, but like if I get some cardio session in and, you know, for some reason burn a little bit more, I'll just eat a little bit more since I'm already on the weight gain. So
yeah, and it's like it's good for you too. Like you don't have like that's why we don't want you to think about cardio as like just running or, you know, like the Stairmaster, all that stuff. Like it should be enjoyable. If you have like the opportunity to like walk around, be like ambulatory, all that stuff, like even if not, like even like whatever movement you can get in a day. For me personally, like movement just makes me feel better. But like in general, like I would encourage everybody to try and find like movement, like patterns, like some sort of physical activity that they like to do, that they enjoy. Because I think that's like one of the blessings that we have in life is the ability to just like play some sort of a sport, to go for a bike ride, to go for like a walk or a ride where
play badminton, like, play volleyball, play basketball.
Exactly, where we're like increasing our heart rate, like that's good, that's healthy for you, because you're able to like exercise your heart, which is a muscle and it needs to be exercised. I think that like increasing your heart rate like into like aerobic and like sometimes anaerobic zones is really good for like maintaining like a fairly consistent blood pressure, like overall. Obviously like a lot of like genetic and like dietary factors there too, but I think that cardio can help some type of physical activity. So yeah, hopefully we made it clear that like you don't have to do cardio for weight loss. If you want to do it for weight loss, that's totally fine, but it's not necessary. I think cardio is just like a good and healthy thing overall to do, and I'd say like cardio in general like probably should be like better named by the fitness industry just like general physical activity, or just like physical activity.
Yeah, no, and that like general movement, general activity, just something just to like, because like every time someone sees you and they're like, damn, you're lean, how much cardio do you do? I just like walk for 30 minutes in the day, 30 minutes at night. What you mean you just walk? To get that body, I used to do hill sprints for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Then you look at him like that, you're like, come on, buddy.
Yeah.
We got this.
No, that's a great example. Like, that person is like the perfect person to watch the Gainz podcast, because like that person, like, if they hate hill sprints, like, stop doing hill sprints. Do you enjoy like bike rides? Go for a bike ride, man. Like, you live in an area that has like a forest preserve, but it's like 20 miles away. Well, work up to biking. Like, you might not be comfortable biking that far. Work up to biking that. Like, maybe you create a plan, like, for 3 months from now, like, you're going to bike to the forest preserve, like, spend the day there with, like, friends, partner, like, family, whatever, and then bike back. That would be a 40-mile bike ride. That would be insane. That would be a lot of cardio. And then, like, you have training and you have, like, a goal in that process. You have something, like, to work up to. And, like, if that was something that you enjoyed, obviously don't do it if you don't enjoy it. Like, Roman from the Gainz podcast told me to do this, so now I'm doing it. No, like, do it if you enjoy it. But that would like give a lot of like opportunities for fulfillment in your life. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile.
Speaking of which, let's close this bad boy out.
Let's do it, Gainz Nation. Thanks for tuning in for the cardio episode. We are coming at you every Friday. It's kind of hard to say like a time when it comes out. It's like you're like really good about it. It's like always like 11.
Just tune in on Fridays.
Yeah, tune in on Fridays. Look out for a post from us. You can continually like check our like our YouTube page. Like, oh, is it up yet? Is it up yet?
Or they could subscribe.
Or you can subscribe. There you go.
I mean, they give you notifications all the time.
I forget about these things. Or you can just subscribe, folks. We'd appreciate it. We'd appreciate it if you watch the video, if you hit the like button. If you have any comment section, make sure to leave them comments. Leave them in the comment section below. We're constantly taking your feedback. We're trying to bring you a better podcast every week. So if there's anything that you'd like to see us do in the future, if you'd like to see us do more guests, because we are talking about having more guests on sometime near future, maybe, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. Antoine, anything left from you?
Yeah, I just want to say, we're on YouTube, Amazon now. Wait, I already teased it too fast. So just so you guys know, if you didn't check it out, if you have Prime, I don't know if you need to have Prime, but if you use Amazon Music or Audible, we're on both of those applications now. We're on Stitcher, we're on Buzzsprout, we're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you can find a damn podcast, type in Gainz Podcast, and that's with a Z, and you'll find us.
Gainz Podcast, people.
So we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace.
Peace.